watching QTV Youth Dialogue, and I am Jenna Bosonko. It's really good to be back here. I just hope that all of you had a good Tobaski break and you had a really good Tobaski as well. And it's just something that I want to put across before we head right onto the show proper and talk about the topic. I think in Gambia here, we need more of recreational centers, because during the Eid, when I was out and about, I saw a lot of children, you know, out and about at shopping malls and all of that. And in these particular shopping malls, they didn't even have much activities to do. They was just standing around. They had no money to buy any item, and there was basically no exciting thing happening around. So I think more recreational centers should be put in place in the Gambia to ensure that young people, when it comes to Tobaski, Korite and other feasts, they actually have something meaningful to do rather than just standing around. And I think this particular issue that I've just raised is very important for our topic of discussion today, which has to do with the Day of the African Child. So the Day of the African Child was on the 16th, but obviously Youth Dialogue comes every Wednesday, so we decided to celebrate it belatedly on the program. And you know, in 1999, the Organization of African Unity, now the African Union, set aside the day when it comes to to commemorate the 1971 Soweto uprising, and encourage governments, civil society, private sector, and a lot of other stakeholders to improve the plight of young people in Africa, children particularly. And this theme this year has to do with education, acting right away to improve infrastructural development, relevance of curriculum, access to education, and the list goes on. So today, to help me better discuss this particular very important topic, I am joined by Tida Barrow as well as Letitia Grant, who are both students and our children. And I'm so amazed that with the amazing work that you're doing at the school level, and that you're here with me today as well to, you know, share your opinion with me on the Day of the African Child. And before you come in, thumbs up to the National Human Rights Commission for working on and putting together a very brilliant documentary on the Day of the African Child, with specific concentration on the education system in the Gambia and just improvement of education in the Gambia. Like I said, infrastructure, curriculum, access, relevance, and the list goes on. We'll be taking a look at this documentary really, really soon. But before that, Tida and Letitia, thank you so much for joining me, like I mentioned. So to start with, Tida, on the Day of the African Child, as an African child, what are some of the things that you reflect on? You know, understanding the Soweto uprising, you know, what happened and everything. So as an African child, you know, what are some of the things that you reflect on that very special day?
It's something that reminds me of education and the system in the Gambia, and like what the African children went through, what they did to make sure they helped themselves to get a better understanding about education. It's actually a lot that reminds me of the heroes they were, how we are also reflecting on them to try and improve, being like them and becoming heroes for the next generation.
All right, Letitia?
Well, being the epitones of knowledge, when they did not stand up for themselves, I don't think we will be here sitting to celebrate this day today. So it is really important, which we know that education is key, and it should not stop here, it should continue. That is what I feel like. It is a very good thing that we are sitting here, so that we'll give privilege to others to know what is going on and what needs to be discussed in state level, not only for children but also for their parents to know that it is really important to be educated.
All right, so I think you guys are already drawing our attention to the theme for this year. So let's take a look at this special documentary by the National Human Rights Commission, and when we come back, we'll delve into, you know, the different details. So we will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
The Day of the African Child, it's a very significant and important day in the history of Africa. The Soweto massacre, when black children were demanding for the right to education. The right to education, it's a fundamental human right. all children in Africa, especially in the Gambia, must have access to education. Access is important, but it has to be accessible, it has to be inclusive. But also, what is important is the quality of the education and how relevant it is. Today, if you look at our streets, you'll see a lot of children, school-going age. Although the law says that education should be compulsory and free, much effort needs to be done to make this a reality. Do we have inspectors going around to make sure that children are in schools? Is our Ministry of Education supervising and regulating the schools that we have in these countries? We have a lot of schools that are not regulated.
My name is Maria Makoria, a student of grade 11 science. Every child deserves a chance to learn. Education creates doors to opportunities and helps us to build a better world. So let's make sure that no child is left behind.
I am Kewa Fati, a student of Mashroom Senior Secondary School, a member of Human Rights Club. Government officials, please focus on our education. We need safe school. A strong education system will lead us to a stronger nation.
I am Maria Maseka. I believe that education can change lives. It is important for every child to go to school and learn. Let's all come together to make sure this happens to all children in Africa.
While the National Human Rights Commission commends the state for the policies, the strategies and frameworks that it has put in place in the past years to ensure quality education for all children in the Gambia, we continue to urge the state to also put in place measures that will be in line with regional and international standards that will ensure quality education for all children. We should bear in mind the theme says education for all. When we say all, children are not on the same level in this country. Children with disabilities do not have as much access to education as others. These policies should ensure that children with disabilities have physical access and resource access. Children with impaired visions, children with physical disabilities are really left out in large margins when it comes to access to education. The National Human Rights Commission continues to be concerned that special needs schools in the Gambia are just in the Greater Banjul area, while lots of children in the rural areas do not have access to education just because they're children with disabilities.
My name is Aissatou Cisse. I am in the school for the deaf. Every child has the right to learn and dream. School should be open to everyone, no matter their abilities. With the right support, I can achieve anything.
My name is Ajifat Mbub from Govi. We need ramps, braille books, and understanding teachers. Education should include everyone, so we can all have a bright future.
My name is Omar Marina from Govi. I believe in a future where every child can attend school without any obstacles. Let's ensure that children with disabilities have the resources they need to learn and grow.
Education must be relevant so that the children will have these skills, the requisite skills and the tools for a modern world. Happy Day of the African Child.
Very diverse video there, taking a look at different sectors, especially the persons with disability. And like I said, I'm joined here by Tida as well as Letitia. Thank you so much for joining me. So after watching this particular video and, you know, seeing your fellow students and the things that they have to talk about, you know, what are some of the things that were running through your mind while you were watching that video?
For me, one of the things that were running through my mind was that this is the reality, and this is something like they go through, just like the ones in Govi. Mm-hmm. Yes, some of them, like the boy was saying understanding teachers. Like for some reason, there are some teachers who will not be able to understand them for their disability. But if they are provided with teachers who are understanding, willing to help them, and most especially a teacher who loves his or her job, the person will be willing to help them. And if they help them, they will also have a very bright future.
Yeah. All right. So Letitia?
The kids with disability, it is sad. It saddens me that I am privileged to go to school, to do things that freely, like I can express myself freely, but they are not able to do that. Why? Because there are limited resources for them. It's not everything they have access to, and it is really difficult when you want to do something and there's limited resources. It tends to hinder progress, and without progress, I don't think there's going to be development in any form.
All right. So now let's talk about the education system, which you are a part of. I'm sure you both go to public schools. So with that, what are some of the improvements that you think should be put in place at the level of, the Gambia's education system? A representative from the National Human Rights Commission talked about the fact that they want the Gambia's education system to improve to be able to compete at the regional and international levels. Now we're talking about access, we're talking about relevance and all of that. What's your take on that, the current system that you, TIDA, is a part of? What changes do you want to see?
Yeah, for me, like in our schools, the public schools, they aren't like people with disabilities much. They have their own separate school, and that's also a good sign that they are trying to help them to have their own school. But in those of their schools, they also need development. They should all be having like officers or something like teachers who will be there to help them if they are having to deal with some of these forms of abuses. Just like she said, they can't express themselves freely like we do. There might be something holding them back to express themselves, but if our education system gives them rooms to make sure that they are free to express themselves in any form, like they will also feel very happy to open themselves to other people.
Okay.
And also like in their schools, for example, the one on wheelchairs, like they do go to class, they learn and all those things, but like when it comes to the school toilets or something like that, it should also be designed for them. Like if
disability friendly toilets.
Yes, if they find it difficult to get to their school, there should be a specific bus to take them to school at any time and bring them back home. Because like some apprentice or drivers can't be there like to wait for them. They see it as somehow wasting their time. So if they get their own school bus, and like it will be taking them to school, bringing them back home, their parents will also feel some
relief.
Security, yes, relief that my child is safe. He or she won't suffer when going to school or coming back home when it comes to vehicle or something like that. So they also need a lot of improvement, not only for them, but also for us. But also for us in public school, we also need a lot of development.
Okay, what are these specific developments?
Like when it comes to going to school, sometimes we find it difficult, especially for the ones who go to school in the morning. Like especially on Mondays, if you have so many people trying to get to their workplaces, some trying to get home, like some coming from weekends, it's somehow crowded. The place is crowded, and if you are to travel to go to, for example, Sukuta, you will stand there for a long time, you will not have vehicle. And if that happens to you, you will be standing there for a long time and it might delay you from going to school. You will get there very late and you are going to miss lessons. And that lessons you are missing, when you go to the exam hall or you are supposed to do your exam, you will suffer in some ways because what you miss, the teacher can't come back for only you and explain for you. So, but if we are provided with many school bus that will make sure that when we are going to school, we can't be delayed because of vehicle, things like that. We can get to school very fast and then come home. If that can be done for us, the students, like we'll feel relief, we'll feel a sigh of relief. We can get to school without being late. We will not have to miss our lessons, and if exams comes, those lessons that we were missing those days, we won't miss them and we'll go and pass all our exams.
Nice, 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 nice. So Letitia, do you agree that, because TIDA is saying that the students who have special needs are in one school, and she does not agree that they should be separated, right? You feel like, they should come on to public schools and just join everybody. Do you agree with that? Do you think that is a good thing? Do you think they will get the necessary attention that they need, and they'll be comfortable? Is that your thought as well?
Yes, I feel like since it's education, it goes across. Everybody needs to be included. We are teenagers, and we communicate well with our peers. I feel like when we are in the same schools, let's speak of the basics. It should start from ECD, the pre-level educational sector. Yeah. Like I feel like we as students should be taught in a very early age to communicate in sign languages. Okay. And yeah, just to accommodate everybody, because you might not know where you end up in, and people with disabilities are everywhere, and they need to be they need to have a sense of inclusion in any part of the world that they are in. But I feel like if we are not, when we, the non-vulnerable people, are not, they don't have a sense of caring and accessibility to them, I feel like they feel they are left out. And being left out doesn't make any room for changes or development. So when teachers and us as students, we need to learn sign language at a very young age so that we will accommodate everybody and make it a very peaceful room for everybody.
All right. Okay, that is your opinion. So what other challenges exist? Like Tida said, she talked about transportation. So what other challenges exist when it comes to, taking into consideration the education system? Let's talk about relevance now. How relevant do you think, the education system is? Do you think you fit in? The courses that you're doing translates to the ambitions that you have?
Yes, I do. I am a first-year university student. So the courses that I'm doing, yes, because when they are interrelated and they are interconnected. There are some courses that I do. When I go to the next class, it's like I'm just revising for something that I've already done. So when there is a curriculum that is free and fair, you will be able to choose. You will have a wide range of things that you want to do. And these are the things that will make you stand out and say, yeah, I want to be a diplomat. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to do different things. So these curriculums that are there, when it's suitable for you, you choose for yourself. I feel like no parent out there should choose things that their children want to do, because you might not know the ability and the person is specialized on, and you just come and say you have to do this because I did that. That should be stopped, because there are a lot of children out there that are doing things that they do not want to do.
Yeah, and you think that's wrong?
Yeah, and I feel like that is wrong.
Yeah, so during this time of the Day of the African Child as well, we see currently at the level of the National Assembly where there's a bill tabled to repeal the FGM law, the FGM ban. And, when we talk about the Day of the African Child, most of these traditional harmful practices happen in Africa, Gambia included. So as an African child, Tida, the day that you heard, that the National Assembly is tabling this to repeal the FGM ban, what were your thoughts as a young, as an African child? What were your thoughts? And if you had the power, what were you going to do at that moment?
So my thoughts were that how I was feeling by that time, I was feeling somehow heartbroken, because it seemed like what we, the children of the National Assembly, work hard for doesn't mean anything to them. And it's like we've worked hard for something, we've went on trainings, workshops, we've done a lot of things to make sure that we play our own role in trying to stop all harmful abuses or practices against women and girls. But it's like it has no use, because us at our own level, we worked hard. We made sure to do everything in our power to stop this act. But they just come up and say the law should be repealed or something like that. As for me, I was really heartbroken, because it's like they don't value our work. And if I had the power by that time, I'll make sure they go through their own points to tell us why they think that this law of FGM should be repealed, why they think that this harmful practice must continue.
Okay.
And like
so you know they had deliberations, but they didn't convince you?
No. They did not convince. All we wanted is like to have like an open discussion with them to make sure they educate us, and us also like to make
you
it
educate them.
Yes.
A dialogue.
Yes.
Okay.
A dialogue.
So their deliberations did not convince you.
Not quite.
About
Yes.
about that. All right, that's quite clear. Letitia?
I feel like they do not respect the people that went through FGM enough, because you as a survivor, you come out, you go to places, you stand out, you faced every stigmatization, you beat every allegation, and you come on TV or any interview per se, and you say that you are a survivor of FGM and there are consequences of that deadly act. And you, the National Assembly, you just come and say, we have to repeal the law, we have to do this. But it's like you're not giving relevance to those who went through it. And how can you say you went through this, but it's not enough? Then what is enough? Because I don't get it. It's like we Gambians, we don't support each other. When women go through such things, because women and children are the most vulnerable in any circumstance, in either conflict or anything. But women are still standing, and it is the same women that will say FGM, we have to do it because our ancestors were doing it. But were you there when the ancestors were doing it? There are a lot of people who lost their lives because of that practice, and you will come and say, "Sma mam daf ko defon, man tam dama ko def." But there are repercussions. I read that there is a law. I mean, yeah, there is a law before at the Yaya Jammeh's time. But who have you heard that was punished because of that act? Nobody. Nobody, because it is us ourselves with the Maslaha syndrome that you will know someone is doing this and you will still keep quiet because it's my neighbor, it's this. So we are the one hindering progress for ourselves before it reaches to the national level.
Okay, so at the grassroots level, we have to make sure to do more and more and more. Let's also talk about the internet on Day of the African Child. Within the African continent as well, technology is evolving. I'm sure you have a smartphone. I'm sure you have a smartphone. You have a phone now, and with the phone, you can easily be influenced when it comes to your thoughts as an African child. Some of the good values, some of the good practices that you have as an African child, can be affected by some of the things that you see online, because now the world is a global village. If something happens in Gambia, the next minute somebody in America is aware, somebody in Australia is aware. So how do you protect yourself from this internet as African children to keep those values, that are important, to you and your identity, as African children?
So for me, like when it comes to the apps like TikTok or YouTube, some things like that, like I just don't post everything for the whole world to see. I turn some of them to private for only myself to see it. And if I feel somehow insecure about posting something, I seek advice from people who are more elder than me, people who have more experience. So I feel like if I'm doing that, if I post something that is appropriate, like someone tries to come in and say something bad about it, comment something harsh, like something like cyberbullying. Yeah, so many people are going through it, and some it's not because of what they post, or sometimes it's not always because of what you post, but sometimes it's because some of them just want to see your downfall. So sometimes us as African children, we need to be very careful about the social media. For us all to, like, if we can have this opportunity where like we will have workshops and we will be educated about this online cyberbullying, all these things, so that we just get the knowledge, so that when we are being bullied, we know what to do. And also when we are posting something, we know what to do. And if someone comments harshly on us, we know what to do. Like in situations, you know how to fight back.
Okay, yeah, nice. Letitia?
Just yesterday, there was a cyberbullying thing on Instagram. You know, these young girls and Instagram Live,
Yeah.
the things that they do. So what I was thinking is, why come online in hundreds of people to address one person when you can just DM them and say what you want to say? Like most of it, it's craving for attention, craving for clout, and too much of clout is someone's downfall. You might not know where this information is going to, the people that are going to see it. Per se, you might think that my peers are going to see it, but you don't know what the internet is capable of. There are good aspects of the internet, and there are also disadvantages of the internet. So I feel like we should use it wisely. Everything has good, positive and negative. So we need to capitalize on the positive things, do what we know we are supposed to do. We should not be influenced by others. This is the Gambia. This is not America. This is not Ghana. This is the Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. So do the things that you are supposed to do online and stay out of trouble. It's better than coming out, showing off or doing certain things that you're not supposed to do. So the internet is going to haunt you when you want to be haunted. So I think we should use it wisely.
All right, so let's talk, as African children, I think it's also important we talk about skin bleaching. You know, I know the Day of the African Child, Soweto Uprising and all of that, but the day when it's designated draws our attention as, you know, you as African children to a lot of things. And now with the internet, like I talked about, there's a lot of, you know, things to pressure you all, you like to bleach your skins. And both of you are dark, really dark as I am. So, you know, Tida, how do you, as a, you know, as an African child, how do you see some of those pressures? The fact that, you know, when you go on the internet, most of the models that you see are fair in complexion, and growing up, most of you are made to believe that you're supposed to be fair in complexion to be regarded as a beautiful individual. How do you, you know, what do you think about that?
For me, like these people with fair skin, I'm not even pressured by them because I am an African child. My color defines me, as in as much as my behavior, things like that, in as much as they define me. So my color is something special that God has gifted me with. So I cannot just jump up and say I want to bleach my skin. My skin, I see it as a gift. It's something that defines my beauty. But if I'm to destroy it for if I'm to destroy it because I have seen a model who is fair-skinned, I just want to be like her, bleaching my skin won't make me to be her. For she is in her position, I don't know what she has done to be in that position. If I want that kind of position, I will also have to work hard, and also like I will also be able to have my own position in modeling careers. And not only in modeling careers, like you will see on these apps, like you see white people, they will get more likes, but sometimes they won't even post something sensible. But you as an African, you will just post something sensible, but because you're black, some won't even take their time to even view your video, even if it talks about something very important. So I think we have to learn from all of those things. Your color is something that defines your beauty. It's not something, it's just a natural gift. It's not something you can throw away just like that. You shouldn't bleach your skin because you see someone fair in complexion. Your own black is your own beauty. Maybe it's you are black because you are an African. It might be in such cases, but your black skin really defines your beauty.
All right. How about you, Letitia? You're going.
I've been discriminated against a lot of times, especially in junior school. Well,
because of your skin color?
My skin tone. Like, bro, do you not think I look at the mirror every day before I come to school? I know I'm black. Why are you reminding me? So I feel like people are insecure of themselves. When people show their reflection of insecurity through you, like, what is your deal? You are mad because I'm black? Are you okay?
Yeah.
I don't get it. So being discriminated, saying you are black, and a lot of people would say you don't overlap sell.
Especially the newel part.
Like, it's crazy when the audacity people have to just look at you and say some outrageous things. You wonder, are you okay? Is everything okay at home? Because I don't get why you are pressed about me being black. So to my friends watching this, I don't care what you say. You should not care what other people say about you. Be who you are. Fat, skinny, tall, short, dark, fair in complexion. Just be who you are. Love yourself as you want others to love you.
All right, you know, that is the whole goal, you know, at the end of the day. But moving on, there's this studies that is conducted in the Gambia by Phoebe and Ina Grant, and the study is conducted in Gambia, which is in Africa. So, you know, the study revealed that African parents have a huge difficulty of having conversations with their children. And normally when parents do not have conversations with their children, this is obviously in the African context, it becomes difficult for that African child to grow to their full potential and understand their values, know what to do, when to stand for themselves, when to say no, when to say yes, you know, and all of that is lacking, you know. So what's your take on that, Tita? The fact that there's that sort of gap when it comes to African parents and their children.
Yes, I think like parents shouldn't be leaving their children, like separating themselves from their children. Like, come on, you are a parent. You are there to support your child, for your child to grow. And some of these things might affect your children while they grow. So there are some things that a child shouldn't be learning at only school. You, the parent, you must be there to support the child, talk to the child, have open conversations with the child. Like, for example, if you don't want me to take money from someone, like you will just see someone saying, Tita, take this money, and you just look at me like this. I won't know the meaning.
Bombastic side eye.
Yes, because you did not teach me about it.
Yeah.
I won't know the meaning. So you'll be pushing that pressure on me. I won't know what to do because I don't even know the meaning. Sometimes I will just ignore you, take the money because like I don't know it. But if you want me to stop taking money from someone, you'll have to come and talk to me. Tita, I don't want you taking money from anyone. I don't want you eating at someone's place. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to do that. You have to talk to me. You just can't see me do something and just start looking at me, start doing all actions to make me notice that you're angry. You will have to talk to me, have discussions with me, make me understand that there are some things I am not supposed to do and there are some things I am supposed to do. So I feel like these things are missing a lot in families. And sometimes if your daughter or your son wants advice from you, but you won't give the advice that that particular child needs, he or she might take the advice from elsewhere, and you won't want that to happen. And I think that parents need to put this to consideration and make sure that they know what is going on in their children's lives. Like she's saying, this bullying and things, like it might pressure them to bleed their skin or things like that. So you need to be there when your child needs you. You have to have discussions with your child, make him or her understand that this is not the end of the world. This is how you need to behave. This is just to educate your child, even though you are not educated or a teacher. There are some things you need to do.
Yeah. Do you agree?
Yes. Parents should be more open for conversations that is related to not only their children, but most especially to their teenage children. And of course, the girls, because there are sensitive topics that I cannot disclose to my teacher or any counselor at school. I need to talk to my mom or I need to talk to my dad. But some parents have generational grievances. Like there are certain things that they grew up in. Their parents did not teach them certain things that they needed to know. So growing up, they just adapt to the system. And when they also give birth to us, they think that it is okay to treat us the way they were treated. So I think we, as the young adults now, we need to be the generational breaker for things that have been happening in the past. Some parents need therapy, honestly.
Healing. They need healing.
They need to
They're
heal.
so stressed. I agree with you. And they just want to put it on us. That's the problem.
Yes. Some parents, they really do need it. And it's really important that they take matters not only to themselves, but they need to disclose things to people that are close to them. because there are certain things that they themselves are affected by, but it's the, I don't know how to say it, but it's something that is keeping them from.
Yeah,
it's just being
an
African.
inner thing eating
Yes,
them up.
They're just being.
Yeah. So I guess we can now open the lines a little bit, just
Okay.
so that we can, you know, chat with people, because I think we have just 10 minutes to go. So within those 10 minutes, let's see if we will have few calls of people, you know, talking about the Day of the African Child and all of that. So the line is open now on 50500505. 5050500505. The number is right in front of you. So just give us a call, you know, talk to us about what your thoughts are on Day of the African Child, you know, and just generally, you know, Day of the African Child, in as much as the team is on education, but there's just tons of things that affects, you know, the African child, and we're just trying to get into, you know, all of it in bits and pieces. And I know the time is not going to allow us to achieve that in total, but we've tried to, you know, take a look at different areas that actually affects the child. You know, the abuse is there, you know, the issue of rape, which still is a burden, you know, it's kids are still, you know, being abused at the household level, but they can't even come out to talk about it, which is really sad, because we've seen cases that have failed. And I think it scares you all, right? How much does that scare you, Tida?
It scares me really a lot. Because
Yeah, so we have a caller. We'll just pick that and then we'll come back to that. Good evening.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Elsa Awani. I'm calling from Wellingara.
So, Aisatu, what's your take on the Day of the African Child? The theme this year is centered on education, urging government, civil society, and other stakeholders to act now.
Okay, first of all, you know, I would say it depends on our mom. You know, as a mom, like, especially my mom, I don't know, our mom, let me just say our mom, like, there are some things that your kids need to have the courage to talk to you about. Like, they need to feel like, yes, I can talk to my mom, you know, but I just feel like our moms are so strict. I don't know. Like, they don't feel us like, they don't make us feel like we can talk to them openly. And that's something that affects us all, you know.
So how do you see the education system in the Gambia? What improvements do you think should exist?
The government, the Ministry of Education, like, they need to invest money to our, I don't know, to our social, something like that. But you know, most of them, they took their child to private school. Why are they doing that? Because they know that they don't like most of the government schools, they don't have enough thing, you know, like, I don't know how to say, I don't know how to put it down, but then they don't have things that we need. Like, the education system is so poor. It's very, very poor. Very, very poor.
All right. So I guess the officials are watching and this will be improved gradually. Thank you so much, Aisatu, for joining us. I'm sure we have another caller on the line. If not,
you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Aisatu. Yo, Tida, you were talking about how scared you are, you know, because of the stigma and everything that exists when it comes to abuse in the country.
sometimes, like, we will get complaints, like you just hear someone complaining, this happened to me, I took it to the police, but they refuse to take on my case. I don't know why, whether they are looking down upon me or things like that, but just they refuse to take on my case. Like, we've seen, like, in the Gambia, there are a lot of children who were abused in one way or the other, but their case were just looked at and put on the table. We haven't heard from them. We don't actually know whether they are really looking into the case.
Okay, like, looking into the case, we'll just talk to this caller. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
What is your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Mansour Sane from Bijilo.
All right, what is your take on this year's Day of the African Child with a theme centered on education?
Yeah. This is very important topic, and I usually watch the youth dialogue. Very interesting. And I'm happy to see youth, young adults on this dialogue. But our education system needs to change, you know. Yeah, a lot needs to change because here our education. I'm not against of these private schools and other things, but I believe if our policies change, we can be able to creative. Young people need to be creative, but the way things goes, it's really going bad, you know. So I believe we the young ones, we the young youths can able to observe these governments. We are the future leaders tomorrow. So things need to be changed, you know.
All right.
I really discourage on that because youths, they try a lot on this change of policies, but nothing, they are not considered, you know.
All right. Thank you so much for calling, and we appreciate your input. Thank you so much. So quickly, Tida, you want to wrap up on that?
Yes, I want to wrap up.
Yeah.
Just by saying to them, if they are watching right now, like they should not just take on cases, just looking at them and throwing it on the table. By doing that, like they will be discouraging many people to even complain, because with your parents on the other side, your neighbors on the other side telling you just take it lightly, make it somehow, just like she said, maslaha, something like that. And if you see that if you hand your case over to the police, they won't be doing anything in your case, you really feel discouraged. You just sit down, watch that criminal go free, roam around freely, do whatever he or she likes.
All right. Yes, so Letitia, I would want you to concentrate on the madrasas. You know, when we talk about education, it's not also just about the education that you do, where I know you went to Dara and all, but when I say madrasas, I mean school, going to school, boarding schools and all of that. You know, sometimes challenges do exist at that level. Are you aware?
Yes. Let's say for the girls, they have problem with their menstruation cycle, and they do not have enough resources like the sanitary parts. It might be the non-reusable or the reusable. They do not have those things at all, and they are not. Some of them are not educated enough to know how to deal with these things. They think that like it just happens just like that. I know it does happen just like that, but you need to take care of yourself.
Know the right
things to do at the right time. I mean, we're talking about your hygiene, and it stings. It stings when you sit next to a person that is not taking care of themselves in their period. Like, they need to have a sense of realization that there are certain
that you have
things
to change your pad every 2 hours,
yes.
You know, and all of the knowledge that actually comes
most of
with
them
it.
are not educated enough
to know.
And some of them, can you imagine, they use rags.
Yes, because they don't have, that's the period poverty.
Yes, they
that's
don't
the
have
period
the things
poverty, unfortunately. But I think we just have 3 minutes to go. We can take one last caller if we have any, but time is already up. So what are your final words, Tida? It was so good, you know, sitting here listening to your inputs, which were really good.
Yes, thank you for having me here. It's really a big opportunity to be here and express how we feel about all these things. Just like she said, I think the madrasas also need to be included in all the programs that these English schools also attend. They should be included really quite often, so that them also will have something to take to their daras, educate other students of the madrasas about it. Because when we say education, it doesn't leave anyone out. It has to include everybody. That also includes the ones in the madrasas.
So they should be included as well, and you know, taught how to do things. Letitia?
Yes, education should not be only marginalized to certain people, but it should be inclusive. Everyone has a right to education, and these rights need to be expressed freely. When we talk about whatever that has been discussed here, education really breaks a generational cycle of poverty, because when you are educated, you are able to do certain things that is unique to you. It might be different from others, but at least you stand out. You know that I am good at this, and it is through education which I know that I will be able to make it in the future. And this does not stop with us. When you watch this, make sure you talk to people, make sure you widen your understanding and expand the realization of what things are happening in the country, so that it will be beneficial.
Thank you so much, Letitia and Tida Barrow. It was really good to have you here, and your inputs were absolutely brilliant. So that is all we have time for. Unfortunately, I wish this conversation could continue, but thank you so much to the Human Rights Commission for that amazing video that was really, really diverse, taking a look at children from all areas, the madrasas, persons with disability, and the list goes on. So till we come your way next week with another interesting program, have a good night.